Today, this team of elite engineers is embarking on an epic endeavor.
It's very, very big.
They are attempting to build an extraordinary vessel. One of the biggest and most advanced cruise ships in the world.
It's like a puzzle, it's a bigger puzzle.
You cannot make a mistake.
This is a ship of giant proportions, constructed from 35,000 tons of steel. It will carry more than 5,700 passengers and have a massive central promenade.
Now the pressure is very high.
To build this leviathan, the team must battle mountains of metal.
We have to solve problem after problem.
And punishing deadlines.
We cannot have delay.
It's time now that the ship works, and works well.
This colossal cruise liner ranks in a league of ambitious new engineering wonders that are bigger, faster, taller, and more advanced than anything ever constructed before. This series charts the inside story of the extraordinary challenge of building these giants. In Saint-Nazaire, France, this team of shipbuilders is starting work constructing the prototype of a new class of giant cruise ship.
This ship will be impressively huge. I mean, the last 15 years, ships, they've grown tremendously. So yes, it will be big.
With its ambitious size and scale, this new prototype will push the boundaries of cruise ship design and engineering. She is called Meraviglia and is the vision of Pier Francesco Vago.
Meraviglia, I think, will really turn heads. We want to make a statement. She's going to be a big ship, and we want to make her fun. We want to have a lot of innovation.
Pier Francesco is investing over £725 million in this ocean liner.
We're talking about a lot of money, so I'm certainly not going to save, on innovation, and I want the latest.
It rests on the shoulders of site manager Gaetano Rolando to make sure that Meraviglia is built to set sail on time.
Oh, this is a very exciting challenge for me and for all our team, because every day is different, every day is something new.
Gaetano has constructed 6 vessels over the past 15 years. But nothing as ambitious as this one.
So this is the biggest ship I have built. I'm very excited for this big challenge.
This is the giant Gaetano and a team of 3,000 shipyard workers must build. Measuring 1,036 feet long and 214 feet tall, this ship will weigh more than 3 times as much as the Titanic. On board, they plan to build 20 bars and restaurants, 2 theatres, and 4 swimming pools. To cater for the 5,700 passengers staying in 2,244 cabins, 4 giant engines will power the ship, propelling 2 rotating 170-ton thrusters. At the heart of the vessel will be a Mediterranean-style shopping promenade, topped with a 262-foot-long LED screen ceiling, the longest screen ever built on a ship. The company has built 12 cruise ships over the last 29 years, but this will be the largest and most advanced liner they have ever attempted.
The pressure is huge, the risk is huge. You keep a ship for 30, 50 years, you can't make a mistake.
To fill the ship with passengers, tickets for the maiden voyage have gone on sale before the vessel is complete, and it's already sold out. Cancelling this high-profile journey would be a disaster, costing the company hundreds of thousands of pounds. So there's no room for delays.
The toughest part of my job is to deliver the vessel on time.
With the clock ticking, Gaetano and the shipyard have just 26 months to build, test, and deliver the massive ship.
Every day, day by day, the pressure on our shoulders coming.
Building such a huge new class of vessel requires a huge shipyard. The STX yard in Saint-Nazaire, located near the deep waters of the Atlantic, makes it the ideal place to build this giant. Marine engineers here have a rich shipbuilding heritage. The prestigious SS Normandy and the Queen Mary II, both the biggest cruise ships of their eras, are just some of the grand historic liners built here.
Only a few shipyards in the world can build a ship so big like Meraviglia.
Constructing this prototype vessel involves a series of key challenges. This is the plan. First task: transform 35,000 tons of steel into 50 huge sections, called mega blocks. These blocks will join together to form the ship's hull. Next, workers must build and attach two special thrusters, called azipods. These carry the vessel's 25-ton propellers that will push it through the water. Once afloat, the team need to construct and furnish the 2,244 cabins, fit out the decks, and install the 1,450 panels to create the promenade's LED ceiling. Once complete, engineers will need to test every aspect of the ship, putting her through her paces in a series of grueling sea trials. Gaetano and the shipyard start with 35,000 tons of bare steel. They must somehow transform it into the 50 giant mega blocks that form the ship's hull.
All the steel plates arrive in this position, and then by the crane will be fitted inside the workshop as they need. It's a very heavy and massive challenge for all of our team.
Workers feed each sheet of steel into these giant machines. They fire an 18,000 degrees Celsius jet of superheated gas called plasma through the steel. This cuts the individual pieces of ship to size with absolute precision.
Cutting all these pieces by hand, of course, will take years. So they use the plasma cutting to be faster.
They build the blocks from around 300,000 individual steel pieces. It's a giant jigsaw. Workers must sort and deliver each piece to the right workstation so it ends up in the correct place. Any mix-ups could delay work on the whole project.
This machine is very accurate and can identify each pieces.
Engineers assemble sections of the ship in these workshops. They piece together giant panels that form each megablock upside down. This makes it easier to install the ship's crucial services into the ceiling. The 932 miles of electrical cable, 124 miles of ventilation ducts, and 158 miles of pipework.
Chez STX, nous fabriquons les panneaux à l'envers pour faciliter la tâche de travail en atelier, quoi. Parce qu'il y a certaines zones qui sont très compliquées. Je vais vous donner mon avis personnel. Pour moi, c'est un superbe bateau. Je ressens un peu d'émotion dans la mesure où j'y ai apporté un peu de moi-même, quoi.
Each completed panel measures one deck high. Once fitted out, workers must place it into a special frame to allow the yard's giant crane to lift and flip the panel over, turning it the right way up. Around 20 panels make up each mega block. The crane lowers each completed block into the dry dock, where workers weld them together. It takes nearly 11 weeks to construct the blocks, but with multiple crews building more than one at a time, this method speeds up the time it takes to build the vessel. This technique is so successful that workers use it to build almost every ship at the yard.
For this panel, almost 100 tons, the weight.
They call in this giant gantry crane to turn each massive panel over and assemble the megablocks. Soaring 213 feet tall and with a lifting capacity of 1,400 tons, this is one of the biggest cranes in Europe. In charge of this aerial ballet is crane operator Loïc Gouan.
Très grande responsabilité. Il faut avoir des mouvements assez calmes quand même. Il ne faut pas envoyer des grands coups, surtout pour la conduite ou sur les chariots.
So the position of the panel on these tools is okay. So everything is aligned and is locking.
Loïc receives the all clear to slowly raise this giant panel.
The wind is also an important factor of this operation. If the wind is much more, they have to stop the operation. Now is most critical because we'll come out of the hinge.
The panel hangs like a huge airborne sail. A sudden gust now could prove disastrous.
I can make a damage the crane to other panel, to the people. Up to now, everything is going well.
They lower this panel down to form the base of a new mega block.
Now is time for lunch. Most important part of the day.
Each mega block takes 11 weeks to build. The blocks fit together to form the ship's bow, central hull, stern, and the captain's bridge. It takes around 11 months for the shipyard to fit all 50 giant mega blocks together to form the vessel's skeleton. With more than 8 miles of joins to weld and 10 football pitches of bare metal to paint, the dock team has their work cut out. As the bare skeleton of the vessel begins to take shape, another team is gearing up to start the monumental task of fitting out the inside of the ship. Giuseppe Maresca is in charge of overseeing the installation of a staggering 2,244 cabins.
It's very important for us to have all the cabins on board in the right time and before the delivery date. Otherwise we will have unhappy guests and unhappy bosses. The cabins will have an access to a balcony. To check the position of the cabin, we can see the tracing on the floor. This is where one cabin will be, and there another one, there another one, there another one.
Giuseppe faces an enormous problem. It would take years to build and fit out each individual cabin on board by hand. The ship would never hit its maiden voyage. They've been developing an ingenious solution to this problem at this special factory just outside the yard.
Welcome to the cabin factory. And this is where we build our cabins. Every 25 minutes we produce one new cabins. That means that in one day we have produced about 16 cabins per day.
Instead of building each cabin from the ground up on board the ship, Patrick's team is pre-assembling each room, just like flat-packed furniture, on this unique assembly line. Each unit starts life with a watertight bathroom shell. They install the electrical wiring, plumbing, bed frame, even a desk.
Meraviglia has been quite a big challenge for us to produce such a large quantity of cabins in a small period of time. We start with a base frame and we put the walls around, and then we will do the roof on the top. We'll put the furniture inside. I've never had a shower in this wet unit, but my production manager, yes, he has already tested that on the production line, yes.
They fit the air conditioning, Wi-Fi points, and touch-sensitive lighting to complete each cabin unit.
Here, most of the furniture comes already assembled, except the big furniture that we will assemble ourselves. Again, one wardrobe every 25 minutes.
Before finishing, they need to install one key piece of equipment to make sure that the cabins fit quickly into place on board.
So here we go. This is where we're going to connect the cabins to the ship with that plug. This is plug and play. The cabin is just finished. We just need to connect the cabins to the ship and it will work. As simple as that now. It would be impossible to produce Meraviglia on time if we would build 100% of the cabin on board, without any doubt.
After a mere 25 minutes, the assembly of this cabin is complete. Next stop, the shipyard. The team must now gear up to float the ship to a different quay before workers can continue installing the vessel's cabins, restaurants and entertainment zones. Before they move the ship, they must first fit its two massive propellers onto the stern. Loïc Morin faces the daunting task of designing the complex propulsion units. They must be capable of propelling this enormous ship without compromising the comfort of the journey.
The propeller design is unique for each cruise ship. The challenge to design a propeller for Meraviglia is to reach this compromise between the propellers, efficiency and the negative effect which can generate noise and vibrations on board the cruise ship.
In 1907, during the sea trials of the British ocean liner the Lusitania, engineers reported intense vibrations running throughout the ship. The cause was traced to the ship's propellers. This is the problem. When a ship's propeller rotates, it creates a vortex of low pressure behind the blades, made from millions of tiny air bubbles. This process is called cavitation. When these bubbles implode, they send out shock waves through the water, hitting the propeller and ship's hull. If enough bubbles implode at once, it can cause vibrations that run through the ship. These can create an uncomfortable ride for the passengers and crew.
The standard of a cruise ship is very high, so we have to be sure that the ship will be quiet and with no vibrations and with no noise levels due to this propeller.
With the stakes high for this giant new class of vessel, no off-the-shelf propeller design will work. So Loïc has had to come up with a bespoke solution to ensure this vessel is their smoothest ship yet. To try and minimize cavitation, he has designed a propeller with 5 blades, perfected their shape, angle, and distance from the hull, and the speed at which they will rotate, to make sure that the ship glides smoothly through the water.
So we are using the most advanced propeller design tools in order to be sure that we are supplying to the ship owner the best propeller design over the world.
Building such intricate propellers is no simple task.
I love my job, for sure. I love to make the best propellers in the world.
Workers cast the propellers from a special molten bronze alloy, a mixture of copper, aluminium, iron and nickel.
The cruise propeller blades are very big blades.
They cast the 25-ton propeller in separate parts, the blades and the central hub. Workers fill a series of boxes with resin-bonded sand to create the molds for the blades.
What we do here is to put sandbox in front of the robot, and then the robot will be able to remove the sand and create the final shape of the mold.
They must pour the molten alloy into the mold without stopping, to avoid any imperfections that could compromise its strength.
When we are pouring, it's very important that the material is going inside the part with the right velocity. Otherwise, we can have oxides or other kind of defects that will appear.
It takes just minutes to fill the mold, but 2 days for the blade to cool and harden from over 1200 degrees Celsius. They remove the blade from its mold, then grind its surface smooth to make sure it glides through the water. A computer-guided rotating cutting head removes layer after layer of unwanted material.
It's very important that we mill these propellers precisely, otherwise we can have big imperfections on the surface. And this will affect to the performance of the propeller, and the passenger will be affected by that.
It takes 25 hours for the robot to glide over the blade thousands of times, polishing away every last defect to avoid a bumpy ride.
When we achieve the delivery, we feel very well, all the team.
Using propellers this large creates another big problem for engineers: keeping the ship maneuverable. The propellers on most ships are connected to the hull in a fixed position. To steer the ship, the captain uses a rudder. But this limits the vessel's maneuverability. For a cruise ship as large as Meraviglia, navigating through the tight ports at popular destinations would be near impossible. To solve this, the engineers must attach the propellers to 2 giant rotating thrusters, called azipods. These huge pods can spin round through 360 degrees. The rotating pods, together with small thrusters in the bow, should make controlling the ship much easier and allow this giant to breeze into the tightest of ports. Tipping the scales at around 170 tons, it takes 10 weeks to assemble a single azipod unit. The combined propeller and pod weigh nearly 200 tons apiece. Fitting them onto the vessel's stern will be a huge challenge. Any damage during the installation could set the entire project back by months.
The azipod for Meraviglia is like the legs. So if the legs not working properly, the ship cannot sail properly in the sea. So it's very, very important, the alignment, that everything is working perfectly.
The huge crane lowers the units down into the dock. Workers then carefully slide them underneath the ship before locking them into position.
So up to now the progress is good enough. Everything is according to the schedule.
With the pods attached, the hull of Meraviglia is finally complete. Inside, the vast 315-foot-long, two-story-high promenade that runs down the center of the ship is taking shape. But before the team can fit out the vessel's interior and install the cabins, workers must move the ship to a new quay. To do this, they must float the prototype vessel for the first time. This is a major milestone for the company bosses, who've arrived to witness the event. It takes 8 hours to fill the immense dock. Later that night, she's floating and ready to move. Meraviglia is so big, it takes 5 tugs to carefully tow her round to her new berth. In the shipyard's kitchen, Giuseppe Maresca is cooking lunch to fuel up his team, as work on the ship's interiors can finally begin.
Lunchtime for me is very important, because at the moment I stop my normal work and I start with something which is just relaxing and kind of creative. Our work is quite stressing and quite hard. We work a lot of time and long hours, and we have many responsibilities. Eating together and eating good can help us to keep the morale high.
Over the last 22 months, as the ship has grown, so has the team.
I came here 1 year ago and we were not more than 6 persons. Then slowly we increased. And now we are usually a cook today for 10, 11 persons, with a maximum of 16 once.
Complimenti a Peppino!
Giuseppe's team may be fueled up, but they'll have their work cut out installing the 16 cabin units that arrive from the factory every day.
It's a massive challenge to get all the cabins installed on time. From 6 in the morning we will have a truck coming here and cabins loading and loading and loading.
To keep pace with the relentless supply of cabins, Giuseppe and the team are using an ingenious technique to install. Special holes in the side of the ship provide access to slide the cabins on board quickly. They'll secure a giant lift onto the outside of the ship to reach them. They load and lift each cabin onto the ship. Special rollers allow the team to push the cabins on board, squeezing them through bulkheads and around tight corners, so they can slide them into the correct spot.
It's a bit like I'm wrapping a new Christmas present every day. This is where we get off. Stop! Push.
It's a tight squeeze to guide each of the 1.5-ton cabins through the maze of equipment and workers that cram the inside of the vessel.
One of the biggest problems is the space to put the cabin in position. It's every time like this. It's a lot of hard work.
If a single cabin gets damaged, it could hold up the installation of an entire deck of rooms.
All the works on board are connected, so we cannot have delay. This is inside of the cabin. Here we have the toilet, this is the wardrobe, and here we have the beds. There are no visible damage from the transportation. Yes, cabin is fine. another one done, and we have still more 1,000 to put on board.
While Giuseppe's team fire up the pace, on the lower decks, workers are racing to fit out the ship's cavernous promenade. This space is being designed to look like a Mediterranean-style seafront. The two-story high promenade will be filled with shops, restaurants and cafes.
Giuseppe, this is an Italian coffee bar.
Yeah.
Do you like to take a really Napoletan coffee?
Of course, I do
Espresso.
it 10 times a day.
The first coffee will be for us, for sure, in this Italian coffee bar.
There's a huge amount of work for the team still to do. Their biggest job, installing the ship's giant LED ceiling.
The ceiling is the biggest LED screen in the world ever built in a vessel. The challenging will be to complete all the LED in time.
Instead of a standard glass skylight to cover the promenade ceiling, the team plan to break with tradition. They're preparing to install a never-before-attempted curved LED screen. It stretches 262 feet long and runs the length of the promenade. Installing it won't be easy. Workers must carefully piece together 1,450 individual LED panels to create the curved dome-like structure. Once complete, this LED screen will be able to display anything the ship's crew desire, changing the ambience of the entire promenade at the touch of a button.
The schedule for this area is very important because this is the heart of the ship. So without this room ready and perfect for the delivery will be a big problem.
It takes 3 months to install all 1,450 LED panels onto the giant curved frame. Thousands of cables connect the panels together. If just a single cable is incorrectly connected, the screen won't function properly.
Et c'est quoi, c'est l'image ou c'est la puissance? Alors, lequel vas-tu me donner?
With all the panels in place, it's time for the big test. Will all the sections of the 262-foot-long screen light up?
What we are looking at today is to have a complete and full image on all the vaults without any problem, without any pixel missing. Of course, the expectation of the owner is to have a perfect feature from the beginning to the end of the vault. So a very beautiful challenge for us. And let's see now what happens.
The video must be the same as the one of the flower.
But it's not long before they hit a major glitch.
Stop the screen and have a look to the small phone if it's working for the video. This is a mistake on the drawing. So strange. There is something that is not clear. We have one big black hole because there is a cable that is broken.
You set the configuration?
Yes. Nothing changed.
No. We are solving problem after problem. When you found a problem, you have to solve it and then go to the next step.
We have problem here because we never tested.
Yeah, and you didn't.
And here also.
Donne-moi un grand câble noir, s'il te plaît.
The team has finally fixed the glitches with the ship's unique LED ceiling.
As you can see, the video and the picture are sent correctly to all these LED panels. So yes, it's very good and we are very happy with this result.
There's now just 9 weeks to go until the cruise ship Meraviglia sets sail on her maiden voyage. But before they complete the fit-out, the ship needs to leave its berth for a crucial series of tests.
Very exciting, yes. It will be 3 days without sleeping for sure.
390 engineers, mechanics and crew are boarding the ship to take it out into the open ocean for the very first time.
Let's go on board.
Over the next 3 days and nights, they will put all its systems through a succession of grueling tests, called sea trials, to prove that the ship is safe to carry over 5,000 passengers. This is the moment that everybody has been working towards. It's make or break for Gaetano's team.
Meraviglia is a prototype ship, so the sea trial is the only moment where we can assess the performance of the ship. Of course, if we don't pass the sea trial, we cannot embark any passenger, we cannot deliver the ship, so we have to pass the sea trial.
The man Meraviglia must impress is lead inspector Jean-Luc Conneur.
It's the biggest ship I ever done on sea trial, sure. Là, j'ai tous les paramètres, c'est tous les dépots. The ship have to pass 100% of the test before they are able to taking passengers on board.
The team push the vessel to its very limit over the next 72 hours. They test its fire safety equipment. They assess how easily emergency crews can reach a helicopter and how quickly the anchor deploys. One of the most critical tests involves Luik's propeller. It must create no noise or vibration that could ruin the passenger's cruise.
We perform the test all over the ships, in all compartments and all decks, during the endurance test of the ships, because this is the most severe condition of the ship for vibration and noise.
While the ship sails at full speed, the team work their way from deck to deck, listening for excessive levels. Finally, they test the giant azipods that both propel and steer the vessel.
This is one of the most important equipment on board. We need 100% perfect to perform 110% of the power.
The crew will push the giant pods beyond their limits before undertaking a critical crash stop test.
So gentlemen, we are going to do crash stop test.
A crash stop involves using the azipods to bring the ship to a complete halt from a speed of 21 knots as quickly as possible.
The test will be done by rotating the azipod propeller outward first 45 degrees.
Okay, so we started by taking it to maneuver right now. Okay, crash stop!
This maneuver could be crucial in an emergency such as avoiding a collision.
Ship speed less than 19, 18, 17, 16, less than 15.
They spin the azipods into full reverse.
10 knots.
And the azipods are now in 180 degrees. Stop.
The mammoth vessel grinds to a halt in 4 minutes 49 seconds. But was it quick enough? After a tense few days and around 60 tests, the new prototype ship and her crew return to the shipyard. It's time for Jean-Luc to deliver his verdict.
This sea trial has been successful, really. And now the ship is ready to embark passengers, its first guests.
It's a huge relief for Gaetano.
The important test has been carried out and with the successful results. Now we have to just finalize all the remaining job.
Over the next 9 weeks, it's a frantic race to finish the promenade. Alongside workers, the entertainers practice their routines. And chefs fire up the kitchens as the clock counts down to the maiden voyage. Two years after work began on its construction, Meraviglia leaves the shipyard. Destination? The port of Le Havre in northern France, where the vessel will be christened ahead of her maiden voyage. But on board, the ship's still not finished.
In the indoor pool, there are some touch-up to be done on the handrails of the stairs, also all around the jacuzzi. The technical people are going around all the ship to check that everything is done. It's time now to be sure that the ship works and works well.
It's a scramble to complete the finishing touches as the ship closes in on Le Havre.
Now the pressure is very high because we have to finalize and close all pending items.
At Le Havre port, an events team prepare for the vessel's grand arrival.
Today is the day. The ship has reached Le Havre. Everything is finalized. All the touch-ups has been completed. We are very, very excited for this event. But the ship is ready, we are ready, and let's go.
As the sun begins to set, the stars come out. Celebrities, VIPs, and Executive Chairman Pier Francesco Vago gather to welcome the ship.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank the yard. They've done an amazing job creating the most innovative cruise ship today. Please join me to giving a big round of applause for all of the workers and all of them. Thank you.
In a time-honored tradition, the ship will be christened by a godmother. Tonight, actress Sophia Loren will cut the ribbon.
Et alors, il ne me reste plus qu'à souhaiter du fond du cœur à tous les futurs passagers de MSC Meraviglia un très, très bon voyage.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
It's taken 3,000 people, more than 9 million hours of hard work to complete the first vessel in a brand new class of giant cruise ships.
Finally, the ship is ready, it's looking great, and I'm very happy that our work produced this. I'm very, very happy.
All our team are working very, very hard these 2 years, so we are very proud. And this my first cruise ship has been a very big challenge, but it's important that the result is good.
The following morning, the first passengers board and the ship sets sail on her maiden voyage around the Mediterranean. But only time will tell if the cruise line's huge investment building this giant will pay off.